Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism and narcissistic relationships and healing from narcissistic relationships. So let's talk about the cool girl paradigm, shall we? Let's talk about the cool girl in the relationship. You know what I'm talking about. The idea that that's cool. I can just go along. Everything's cool. We can just be easy. I could just go with the flow. My friend calls it easy breezy. I'm being easy breezy. Okay, I'm going to apologize here at the top. It's very gendered to call it a cool girl, but this theme, this literal term, cool girl, shows up in a lot of clients I have who have used this term, and I've been hearing it for years. Yes, we could expand it to be cool people or just have to be cool, but more often than not, I have run into this in the person who identifies as needing to be the cool girl, okay? So I hope that makes sense, and that's where that usage of cool girl is coming from. So I know you want to hear about my thoughts on the cool girl in the narcissistic relationship. Before we get into that, just a reminder, my new book, written by a not very cool girl, coming out on February 20th, It's Not You, Identifying and Healing from Narcissistic People, teach you to stop being the cool girl. If you're interested in checking it out, the link to pre-order is down in the video description. So let's go back to this idea of the cool girl, right? The cool girl is a girl who's too cool for expectations in the relationship. The cool girl is okay with putting up with stuff that makes her uncomfortable because talking about being uncomfortable, that's not cool. Cool girls don't have issues. Cool girls don't have needs. Cool girls are independent and they can take care of all that themselves. Cool girls or cool people have remarkable restraint. They can hold themselves back from texting back for weeks or sending a text, wondering where a person went because it wouldn't be cool. But in the meantime, they're obsessing about why the other person isn't getting back to them. So a lot of time and mental bandwidth can get wasted in the process of being a so-called cool girl. You want to know who loves cool girls? Narcissistic people, regardless of their gender. This whole idea of the cool girl, cool person, just be cool, call it whatever the hell you want thing, has been burbling up for a long time. It's interesting. The concept of sort of the cool girl was at first codified in 1995 with books like The Rules, where the rules were be cool, don't call them. Nowadays it's don't text them. Just be an inert, cool girl object with no needs. And then maybe they will chase me and want me because I'm so enticing and I'm cool and I'm not just giving in. This stuff is narcissism chum on the water because game playing in relationships is the narcissistic person's bread and butter. They want games. They want the thrill of the hunt. They want the pursuit. And above all, they want the win. I think that the challenges around this whole cool girl thing is that people view that the opposite of the cool girl is somebody who's needy, demanding, and neurotic. That the person who is not cool is showing their hand and giving away all their power. That by showing your interest in someone, it's over. They won't be interested in you. There's a middle ground here, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the challenge is that this idea of dating and relationship rules, the whole idea of the cool girl, keep it cool paradigms, literally cement the dynamics of a narcissistic relationship before you can say love bomb. At the core of the cool girl paradigm is the idea that the person, the girl, can just go along and be easy and not at all be demanding. You don't want to communicate with me? That's cool. Yeah, I got a life. You might find yourself doing, thinking, and saying things like, you want to have dinner with your ex on your own? Yeah, that's cool. I'm an open person. You want to go out for drinks with that person who posts lots of thirst trap pictures and is texting and DMing you late at night? Yeah, that's cool. I'm not even going to ask you if this person doesn't know that I'm your partner because I'm cool. And that's what a cool girl does, right? We don't ask because it's cool to not ask. Oh, you don't post pictures of me on your social media? That's cool. It's okay that other people don't know that we are together, even though you tell me that this is a committed relationship. But I'm cool. It's cool. Social media is fake. It doesn't matter to me that people think that you're single, because I'm cool. That's how this whole cool girl thing works. Like I said, it's narcissism chump. So the assumption is that being cool, in a way, means power, right? It's this sort of false indifference. And let's face it, in a way, indifference is power. It's akin to the idea that the best negotiation tool is the willingness to walk away from the table. But it's also walking right into the narcissistic person's trap. To be cool really means that you don't voice needs, you don't voice wants, or concerns, or discomforts. It means that you may ignore your own physical somatic responses because you want to seem cool, as though cool people would never have trauma responses. So you don't bring anything up. And the narcissistic person certainly is not going to have empathy for you and think, ooh, maybe me going out with the thirst trap to talk about work will make my partner uncomfortable. No, no, no. They will never think that. Their entitlement and their lack of empathy means that they aren't even thinking about you. But my cool friend, if the tables were turned, if you were to go have drinks with that attractive person who is helping you with the work thing, oh my, oh my, oh my, the hypocritical hell you would have to pay. You would be called every name in the book, branded everything you could imagine, and they'd probably end the relationship with you. So let's say you get to the point where you can't keep doing cool anymore. You just can't do it. You can't sit back and let the attractive people posting on their social media, you can't let it go. You can't let the late night shady texts that they're getting go. You can't keep letting them get away with the drinks with the attractive person or the dinner out with someone that makes you uncomfortable. And you finally bring it up. Cool girl leaves the house. And in fact, your reaction may be stronger than you want, because that doesn't feel cool, right? Because you've bottled it up for so long. Well, you know what happens then? Then they gaslight you and tell you that you are out of your mind and crazy. And then they say, what, you're just bringing this up now for the first time? What's your problem? Those of you who've been in these relationships have been to this rodeo before, and you know how this goes. Because by definition, a narcissistic relationship is a place where you cannot be you. You cannot express wants, needs, disagreements, discomfort. So the whole cool person trope plays into that model perfectly. You think you're being cool, you're keeping it cool, and that it's attractive. The dynamic that they want is just being met by you being cool. You have no demands or wants that are being voiced. So everything moves at their pace. It's narcissist heaven. But unfortunately, that's never going to translate into a good relationship. Instead, it will translate into something where you will be taken for granted even more quickly than someone in a narcissistic relationship, if that was even possible. Here's the facts, folks. We as human beings have psychological histories. Things happen to us. Trauma, neglect, adversity, abandonment, betrayal, infidelity, abuse, and just life. And all of it affects us. How we think, how we relate. It affects our nervous system. These histories can undercut our sense of trust and our sense of safety depending on what's happened to us. So there are people out there for whom their partner going out to dinner with a flirty colleague or social media lurker or an ex, it doesn't bother them. It's not that they're cooler or healthier necessarily. That's just not their wound. That's not their story. It's not their trigger. Maybe theirs is different. There are people out there, especially those with a history of other narcissistic relationships, who have been cheated on repeatedly or lied to or betrayed in other ways. And so relationships for people with those histories already feel like risky places. And we carry that fear and betrayal in our bodies. We may literally feel a tightness in our chest, a heaviness in our gut, or even on our head, when we believe our partner is out with someone attractive without us. And when they come home, you want to be cool, girl. We want to be cool. So in a voice that is much higher than our usual pitch, we say, "Oh, hey, did you have a good time? I hope so." But that's not us. That's the cool person in us. That's not authentic. And we attempt to silence our true selves, our anxieties. We don't share those vulnerabilities. And acting cool, like it doesn't bother us, it doesn't mean that it all goes away. Instead, what happens is that we slowly start to get sick. Each time we have to play at being the cool person, we may get anxious, hypervigilant, distracted, angry, can't sleep. We might get physically sick. But at least we're cool, right? Remember, the narcissistic person needs supply. Lots and lots of supply. And they can only get it from other people. That's why they are so often shady, why they need flirty comments and likes and DMs. They need them. It's like food for them. And if you've been hurt by this behavior in the past, it doesn't feel okay. In a healthy, normal, growth-oriented, safe, respectful, compassionate relationship, we can share our wounds, our fears, our worries, and the other person protects us. In a healthy relationship, each partner is a custodian of the vulnerabilities of the other person. It's not about being cool. It's about being real. It may be that someone not responding to your text or a one-word answer over and over again doesn't work for you. Well, a cool girl would never dream of saying anything. But a healthy person might say, you know what, this doesn't work for me. And they recognize that the other person may not have more in them than one word and delayed responses. It's good to learn this stuff early so you can cut your losses. Because in between these two extremes, between the extreme of the having to be the cool girl and then the chronically needing to be the reassured, neurotic, needy person, is the person who can express their needs and wants, who behaves in a way that is in line with their true selves and vulnerabilities. Let's say you're thinking about someone you're dating, or you read something you think they'll like. You send it to them. You don't say, "Ooh, it's too soon." If sending a text too soon is what leads them to withdraw or become cold and distant, that's what leads them to do that, well, then that's their own strange attachment journey, and that's probably not going to work for you. Cut your losses. For a narcissistic person, the game, the chase, the hunt, the intense attention, and then withholding from you, that's how they play the game because that works for them. I mean, speaking about attachment styles, most narcissistic people have anxious and avoidant attachment styles, one, the other, or often a mix of the two. So much of the relationship advice out there, and there's a lot of it, is about tactic rather than being about being yourself. This is even more pronounced in the era of online dating. And this really matters if you have had a history of narcissistic relationships, since these relationships steal most of our ability to be ourselves because we are ashamed for being ourselves. So any guidance that tells you to be cool or you think that it will work, it can set a precedent early on of not expressing yourself and then getting caught in this tyrannical system of a narcissistic relationship where you always feel silenced or gaslighted. I say this as someone who sort of internalized the cool girl within my trauma-bonded, narcissistically abused interior, that if I was ever going to get anyone to notice me, I had to go with the flow or I was definitely going to be rejected. So the stuff I endured in relationships has been atrocious. And I still carry tremendous shame about the relational stuff I put up with in the name of being the cool girl. Easy, breezy, I don't care, I'm open, I'm not needy. I was never needy, but I did have vulnerabilities. And if someone couldn't cherish me and safeguard those and meet me where I was at, then they weren't my person. But It took me nearly 60 years and a lot of narcissistic BS, and not just in intimate relationships, but in friendships and the workplace and family, to figure that out. I don't want that for you. I don't want this to take you 60 years. So please listen and get there quicker than 60. If telling someone within reasonable limits that you're uncomfortable, like listen, it's not going to fly to tell someone that you're uncomfortable, that they're getting up in the morning and going to work. But it's absolutely understandable that you would be uncomfortable if for the third night this week, they are having dinner with that one colleague after work. And this is one of my favorites, when people say, my work is on social media, so the people making those sexy comments is just the job. Actually, not. And it's okay for you to say, it doesn't feel good to me. Again, it just may not be your person. But if telling someone that you're uncomfortable makes you not cool, or makes it that they call you demanding or needy or neurotic or too much, which is gaslighting, remember, it's not you. You're simply sharing a vulnerability. It's actually on them if they can't hear it or if they make it about them. To every person out there who is staring at their phone and wondering, I wish I could text them, but then I wouldn't be cool. Or I really want to tell them that this thing they're doing, I'm not comfortable with it, but then I wouldn't be cool. Please know that this isn't about coolness. It's about a paradigm that relationships work if you don't have any needs. But FYI, that's not a relationship. That's servitude. And I am no longer cool. I'm not sure that I ever was. I'm just a big old human backpack full of vulnerabilities and wounds. And I'm tired of playing at life as though I'm not. Because honestly, the opposite of cool is actually warm. And that is the loveliest thing a person can be. Stop playing it cool. Thanks again.